Okay, this is Alan. I'm going to be talking in this video about estimating specifically, trying to go over that for the sales guys. Um, I'm going to start with, so obviously we're having problems with the OneDrive. We'll work through that, but assuming someday it works, you'll jump in here. Everyone will know what the job files is. Maybe we'll go through the job files in a different video. But for now, we're going to focus on estimating. So this is assuming we've been tracking our projects. So I'm going to bring up the project sheet that we're all accustomed to, two of them actually. So I'm going to bring up this one and this one. So we got the sales CRM sheet and the job file sheet both. And so let's assume I had been talking to Andy Scott, or actually Scott Investments. I've been talking to Scott Investments. I'm not planning anymore. I was planning. Now I've got the job. This is estimate number 03. All these job numbers for the sales CRM sheet is the estimate number. And again, I'm going to try and speak specifically to writing estimates, which is very important. So this is the estimate number. And then on the job file number, this would be the job number. And then you have your estimate number, whichever line that is. And I'll explain in the other video how to fill this out. But let's say we've done Scott Investments. They're an investor. We offered all of our services to them. The individual contact name, let's assume I had that filled out, John Joe, or maybe if I didn't have one, it would be not available or not applicable. It's Cami, Oregon is where they're from. My method of contact was emailing them. The initial contact date was somewhere around 3/24 probably. This is when I was kind of filling this out in the other video. Here's the phone numbers I found for them. Here's the email I emailed and the follow-up date. Let's say I followed up a couple of days ago, and that's when I got the job. Okay, so now this one right here became a job, and we're actually going to have we're going to change this to status, and we're going to change these because I think this will make more sense. It's going to be planning and email sent and estimate requested and estimate accepted. Okay, so now you guys are going to have to bear with me since we're new enough to this. This is how this will go. Maybe it's a comma I'm supposed to use. Yeah, it's a comma. Okay. Okay, so we'll make all these commas, and estimate accepted is going to be with a comma, and estimate. Okay, so I think that does it. Here we go. Okay, and then I actually want to add one more, which is my blank. Okay, so then we're going to set this one to blank. This will actually need to be a little wider. And if you guys ever need to change any of those, that is how you do it. And then you can just highlight them all. I just copied that top row, and I can Control V and paste it. And now any of these lines say the same thing. So if I ever need to change anything, you want to change all of them. Anyway, so at first I was planning to do this guy. Then I sent the email, and then a couple weeks later, I decided I would go back through the emails I sent and follow up. So I followed up with him, and he requested an estimate. So now at this point, we're in the estimating point. With these guys, this was already filled out when we planned. Then we sent the email, we followed up on 4/3, and we got the job. Or at least we got an opportunity at the job to send them an estimate. So now they're asking for an estimate. So now the question is, what do I do, right? First thing you're going to want to do is add it to a new project. So the job numbers are all lined up here. So you don't have to change any job numbers. It just gets assigned the job when you put it in. And how I want to name these jobs, you see these semi-scores that'll separate, the different parts of it. But I want to start off by the either company name or the last name of the person. So in this case, the company name, Scott Investments. So it's going to be Scott Investments underscore, and then it's going to be either the row. So now the question is that Scott Investments had some kind of property. So whatever the road name is, let's say it was Rose Drive, so maybe this was Southeast Road, 1925 Southeast Rose Drive in Portland, Oregon or something. So Rose Drive is going to be the next part, the name, and then where it is. So you got the company name, the deal, and then it was Portland, and that's going to be the job name, like that. So the sales guys are going to input this as soon as they get an estimate request. They're going to change this to whatever type it is. So this was a property feasibility study that they want an estimate for. They would ask for report level 2. That's the preliminary feasibility study. Report number 3 is the detailed one, and then due diligence report. Or if it's consulting, maybe it's time material, or maybe we give them a bid or plan to give them a bid. Guess how much it's going to be. So they just simply ask for report level 2. So I know, I can't remember what the price was, it was somewhere around $21.50 or something, somewhere in that neighborhood. You'll type in the address. So, we were pretending it was 1925 Southeast Rose Drive, and then it was in Portland, Oregon, 97, whatever the zip code is. The company name again is Scott Investments. So basically you're going to go through and fill all this out. I want to do a mock-up job. Investments, LLC or whatever. It's important so we get the right one. Oh, companies. Scott Investments Companies. Scott Investments Companies. And then who was who's going to be the manager? Let's say this one's going to Joshua. Maybe someday we'll have multiple people. And there actually should be a sheet here, maybe one to the left, that is salesman. And then this is where you'll put, we can change all these later, but let's say Neil sold this. So this will have all of our names on it. This other manager one will have all of our names on it as well. And I can change that later. Ooh, whoops. And I don't know how I did that. Is it this one? Or this one? Aye. Oh, good grief. I need to fix this, or you guys are going to run into it. So it's H. I'm having trouble with HI. What in the world? Okay, I need to zoom out. Ooh, I need to zoom out even further. There we go. There must be something at the bottom that when I double clicked it did that. There we go. This is a waste of a video, but I'm not going to stop. Okay, so we're on Scott Investments right here. Neil Points was the salesman. Joshua Stanton is going to be the guy doing the job. Whatever the zoning is, let's say it's an IG1 zoning or something. And then whatever date, so 4 or 5 today, that's when they asked for it. And then date completed, date closed, the status, you'll change. So obviously date completed, Josh will fill that out. Date closed, Josh will fill that out. Or excuse me, the development consultant, I need to stop saying names. So we can use this later. But it's going to be estimating. Obviously, that's what we're doing. And then you'll fill out all this information that we have so far. So obviously the investor we know is Scott investments, investments. The real estate agent will ask them if they have a real estate agent, their general contractor, architect, surveyor, and then who is paying us. It's going to be that John Joe guy or whoever we're talking to at that company. So that is, you'll fill out all that information to the best of your knowledge, best you can. Get as much of it filled out as you possibly can. And then at that point, now that the job is created, you can come back in here. I'll kind of leave this open. And if you don't have multiple screens, you should get multiple screens. And now you're going here to job files, and you're going to create a new one, and you're going to name it. So I'm looking at Scott Investments. It's 21-016 underscore Scott Investments underscore Rose Drive underscore Portland OR. Okay, so that's going to be the name of this job. And of course, you can jump in here and copy and paste and do little tricks like that as well. Okay, so now that's all filled out. So now we have a job. That's kind of how we'll assign a job number. If we don't do that, it doesn't have a job number, so that has to happen before you can create the folder. Okay, so now they've asked for an estimate. What do? Create a job folder. Come in here to templates. I'm going to go to contract estimate proposal. And this is a property development, not management. I'll rename these easier. It's not a consulting estimate, business, property development management template, consulting estimate template. I think this is the one we want. Let's open it up and see. Okay, so this is our contract, detailed estimate. Yeah, this is the one we want. Okay, so I'm going to take this. We'll make it easier to read, and I'm going to copy. You guys can make your own templates if you think it's better, but never cut or take it. Just copy it. Come back in here to your job file, and you're going to paste it in here. I'm going to make a folder named estimates because you have to remember Joshua is going to, the development consultant is going to use this someday. And then what I normally do is I'll do estimate backup. And so now the development consultant can have all of their stuff out here and reference the estimate whenever needed. And any reference documents you'll have outside estimates. So if you had to reference something, you'll have it, and you'll make new folders naming whatever it is. Okay, so I'm going to jump in here. I'm going to open up this estimate. And Scott Investments asked me on Rose Drive to give them an estimate to do a feasibility study, a preliminary feasibility study, as we discussed. And you can kind of just watch what I'm doing a little bit, but we know in our templates, we have all the development reports, the detailed feasibility study, the due diligence report, and preliminary feasibility study. So this is the one that they want an estimate for us to write. So I'm going to call this is going to be revision 0. So this is the first one. Not revision 1 means that there's been one revision. Revision 0 means there hasn't. It was 1925 Northeast Rose Drive in Portland, Oregon. You'll fill all this information out. Don't worry about the contract price. When did they request it? Today. When did you write it? Let's assume today. What type of estimate it is. So, and maybe I'll put some drop down here to make it easier for you guys to remember, but what we're going to write here is a lump sum, which means we don't intend to give any change orders, and it's at one solid price. Or there's a not to exceed budget, which means it's going to be a time and material job that doesn't exceed a certain amount of money for whatever scope we tell them we'll do. And all of these, unless there's consulting, is going to be a lump sum bid because we gave them one price that we're not going to go over. Who's it presented to? Scott Investments. And you even could say a attention, John Doe or whoever you're talking to, if you want to get super fancy. And maybe you would even do something like this to kind of separate the two. And project name is going to be our project names. So at this point now it has, we of course created a job file, but we want there to be, so this is another thing we need to do, is we need to have it, we need to have estimate number and the estimate and the PO number both referenced. So the PO number is going to be the job number. You guys will find the templates just like this. Estimate number is obviously what we discussed was the estimate number, so you'll put that in here, 21 something, can't remember what it was. You go back to our job, oh no, we'll go back to the sales CRM sheet. So it was, estimate number 3, that's right, estimate number 003. And if you put one of these little lines, when you do zeros, it'll stay. PO number was 21 something, 21016, like that. And so the project name is now going to be the same project name minus the project number. Rose Drive, Portland, OR. Okay, most of this stuff is going to stay the same. So you're going to change the name of the customer, right, to whatever the name is. So John Doe, and then all the stuff that you need to change is going to be red. So you need to make sure you change it to black or whatever matches this. If you need to match it, you can come up and hit this format painter button right here, and then you can make whatever looks the exact same text. Please to present you, just read through everything, make it look good, or make sure it reads right and is like however they ask for it to be. Please know all the assumptions, qualifications. So this is all pretty typical. And then go through, and if there's anything that specifically needs added that we're excluding, make sure you put that there. If they've asked for a schedule, or you've committed to a schedule, so if you told them, yes, we can get you a development report in 2 weeks, which never do that unless you ask Joshua first, or the development consultant, whoever's going to be assigned. But you can say something like schedule, start date, after, down payment, received, and contract signed, project completion 2 weeks after that. And if it's a bigger schedule, you can just ask me when that comes up, and we'll say, please see the attached schedule, and we'll attach the schedule. Please make checks payable to, not me. It's going to be AD Moore, all caps, Consulting LLC. And then payment options, you're going to detail whatever you talk to the client about, which is maybe going to be down payment of, say, 10% or something. Final payment is net 30 terms after invoice or after project completed. Okay, and so that's all I'm doing here. I see I'm just kind of making it right to this job. All of this contract language do not change. This all stays the same. Contract language stays the same. See these tabs down below. Contract language stays the same. And now you get back here to the actual estimate. Don't worry about this top stuff for now. And obviously logo will be different and phone number will be added. But at least giving you guys an idea. So this here, it's going to be a preliminary feasibility study. So here we go. I think I put some prices here, which is old pricing. But so I'm going to get rid of this one because I don't need that anymore. Preliminary feasibility study is the only thing we're doing. Maybe they needed some consulting services too. So you're going to decide, is it going to take us 10 hours worth of consulting hours, or 20 hours worth of consulting hours, or 50 hours worth of consulting hours, or and see, it's all, do we have to draft any plans? For a preliminary feasibility study, we do actually have to draft plans. We have to draft plans for the initial development, and let's say that's going to be 4 hours worth of plan drafting. And we're going to have permitting fees. Oh no, that's actually included in this price. So never mind. So we won't forget about that. It'll just be the feasibility price. And there's no other associated fees. So obviously, if there is any, we'll go over that as it comes. Check your math. So right now, it's adding or multiplying those together. So I want to go a quantity of 1 of these this price of preliminary feasibility study, which is on our website. I'm going to change the numbering sequence to make sense. Our fees and profit is going to be 0 on these lump sum jobs that are based off of our website. The only time we'll have fees and profit is when we're doing not to exceed budget estimates. If they want an option price for something else, so maybe they want an option price for the, you'll maybe say remainder, or add report to be a detailed study. And so it's going to be whatever the detailed study, I think they're maybe like $900 or $800 more or something. You'll of course check that. And so this is going to be the sum of this one and this one. Let's move this down here so it makes more sense. And then I'm going to get rid of this. I'm just looking to make everything look good. Number 1, and this is number 2. Okay, so now they want a a adult, and I'm just realizing I actually don't want to add that. So basically, what this is doing is what they're committing to pay on this is $21.50, and if they want to know how much extra it is on paper to upgrade it to a detailed study, they can have that in the contract too if they want, and then we can add it later. All this stays the same. Customer's fine. You can put in their name of the company here if you'd like, and so this will all stay the same. And now I'm going to come back over here to the cover page, and I'm going to, which will actually now have to add these lines since I changed it, and see how you just kind of have to edit these, and the more we do this, you'll get to the point where you're pretty much just changing the names and addresses and sending some of these out, and it'll get quite a bit easier. Okay, and so we're I to 7 on that, I to 7. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this whole thing since the lines are exactly the same, and paste it, and make sure it's on every single deal. And so you're going to get all of this prepared. You're going to read through it multiple times, make sure everything looks good. And then once it does, the question would be, do you send it to the client? The answer is no. First, you send it to me. So you're going to grab this. I'm going to hit the shift button and then click on this one, and that'll highlight all of them. Otherwise, it'll just print the one you're selected on. Come up here to File. I'm going to print to Adobe PDF or Microsoft PDF or whatever you have. I'm going to not have it be custom scaling. I want it to fit on 1 page per sheet. Sometimes playing around with this stuff is a pain, but I'm going to kind of view and see how it prints out and make sure that all looks fine. This actually doesn't look super good. We want it to be as full on the page as we possibly can, but just get it as close as you can for now, and we'll kind of work through printing quality later. So now I'm going to print it. And it's printing, and I'm going to bring it into my OneDrive, add more consulting, job files. I'm going to whatever job it is, and I'm going into the estimates, I'm going into backup estimate, and I'm just going to say something like PDF, estimate sheet, blah, 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 right? Okay, so now it's printed, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm going to save this. And now I'm going to jump back into the jobs. I'm going to grab my estimate backup sheet. I'm going to copy this because the only reason I'm doing this is if I have to add something else to the estimate, some kind of reference thing. I'm going to do this. I'm going to throw this back. Now this is the backup estimate. This is the actual estimate. And I'm going to rename it. And here's a kind of an important part. It's going to be the job number, 016 underscore the estimate number underscore the revision 00, the job name, investments, and then our name, ADMC, and then after that the Rose Drive, Portland, OR. That's how we're going to name every single one of these. So I'll maybe send out something that you guys can reference for that later. Now that you're at this point, you'll send this to me. I'll give you my comments. You'll revise. You'll send it to me for a final review. When I say it's good, you send it to the client, and then you're done estimating. And then you'll just come in here and say, now it's estimate sent. So it was estimate requested. So then you can kind of keep track. So you can, like here's an example. After I do this. So I'm also going to go estimate sent, and then maybe in this other sheet we should add a estimate sent for the status, whatever the status is here. Instead of estimating, maybe it should be estimate requested and then estimate sent. In any case, so now this is estimate requested, and then you got estimate sent, or where did I change that one? Estimate accepted. Here we go, estimate sent. So this is what we want. I'm just going to put this on here real quick so everyone's got it. Okay, so now the Scott Investments is estimate sent. And so what you can do, if Alan had a bunch of estimate requested, Damien, blah, 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 I can come up here and I don't want to see anyone's name but mine, right? And then also I want to sort A to Z, or maybe Z to A in this case. and I want to see the differences between, okay, which ones do I have requested, so I can kind of keep track on the estimates I need to send. And so you can filter this all kind of different ways. Just FYI, and I'll put all these back on. And this time I'm going to sort of A to Z here, so this is all straight. And you can filter all kinds of different ways. So just that's kind of why you want to keep track of that. So now the estimate's set, and then you'll just kind of keep following up with them until they accept it. And then as soon as it's accepted, then you'll say estimate accepted, and that kind of, now you know you're done with that line, and you'll start working on some other stuff. So that is estimating.